The owner of the law firm that is on this hat right here likes to quote Dave Ramsey in saying, "To be unclear is to be unkind." And I 100% agree with him. As Brandon Osterbein continues to grow his firm, one of the things that he's gotten more and more focused on is providing clarity to his team. This is true for a lot of the law firms that I coach. An increase in clarity tends to increase the results. As a matter of fact, I shouldn't even say tends to, it always increases the results. So why is this? Why is clarity so powerful? Well, first and foremost, we live in a world filled with tons of information, tons of ideas, and the opportunity to share and change our opinion at whim on social media. So clarity, more than ever, cuts through the BS and the noise and is refreshing for people. But clarity in business is often difficult to achieve. When you started your law firm, how clear were you on the outcome that you wanted? Chances are you were thinking, I'm going to be my own boss, I want to do work for clients in my own way, I'm sick and tired of making someone else rich, and I'd like to get rich for myself. These are all great, but these statements become less and less clear as time goes on. What does it mean to provide great service to great clients? Who are our greatest clients, the ones we really want to help the most, the ideal client? What does it mean anymore to get rich? I'm making more money than I was making before, and yet for some reason it doesn't feel like enough, and yet it does, and I'm confused about the whole process, and all of this starts to bleed down into the team. They're not entirely sure where you're going, so how can they be expected to achieve the outcome you think you want, but you don't think that you want because you're not sure if you're allowed to get that, because you haven't quite dealt with the money mindset issues that you have from years, maybe decades ago? To get around all of these problems, we focus on clarity. Because like that quote says, to be unclear is to be unkind. This means that if you don't have clarity of your own vision, you're being unkind to yourself. And in being unkind to yourself, you will be unkind to others. You've likely heard the phrase, hurt people hurt people. Well, it's not that dramatic in your law firm, although maybe it is. I don't know what type of trauma you've dealt with in the past, and that's not what this is about. Rather, this is to say your confused mind only creates other confused minds. If you're not sure about where you're going, you truly cannot expect your team members to achieve the goal for you when they don't know what the goal is. This is why setting and sharing a vision with your team is a powerful tool. Do you need to tell them exactly how much money you're hoping to make? No. But can you focus on what the firm is trying to achieve and the impact that it will have on their lives? Yes, absolutely. Now, there's a big difference between those folks who share the vision with the team and then actually help the team live out the vision. I know a lot of firm owners who have shared the vision. They talk about having a $3-5 million firm, and they say some nebulous thing like, hey, it means people will be able to make more money, we can do more cool things. But then the question becomes, as the firm actually levels up, are those things realized? Do they happen? Or does it turn out it's all been some nebulous statement that can be fudged and hedged down the road? All of a sudden, the future becomes unclear again. And to be unclear, as a reminder, is to be unkind. Also, in managing your people, when they are not performing up to expectations, is it actually helpful to let them get away with that and sort of see, oh, be a little bit better. I think we're kind of taking a different performance. Maybe you can do a little bit better for us, right? That sort of hedged language. I will admit, I've been guilty of that type of hedged language. The journey in leadership for me was a long one. It took time for me to figure out how to be more direct, and it will be a forever journey improving the directness with which I operate. But the truth is that learning to be direct, simply saying the truth, saying the outcome that you're looking for, and the delta, the gap that you are seeing right now between current performance and the performance that is needed, is very beneficial to people. Now, in being clear, you also don't have to be unkind. And I'm talking about emotionally unkind to someone. Just stick to the facts. Our expectation is this number of demands are sent per month, and we are currently on average 3 behind that number, and we need to close that gap in the next 30 days. What could we do in the next 30 days to not only close that gap, but make sure that we don't experience this in any months going forward? Now we're not only being clear with the team, but we're creating the buy-in necessary for them to become problem solvers in the firm. They can agree on the solution, and once we have an agreed upon solution, we apply full court press to actually realizing that solution, taking it from a concept or a theory to a real world system. Let's break this down into a few easy steps that you can take to increase clarity in your law firm. First off, number one, you need to know where you want this law firm to go. You need to establish your vision and the criteria by which that vision is achieved. It's not enough to just say, we want to grow revenue. What does growth in revenue actually look like? How many clients have you helped? What is the revenue produced? And for yourself, perhaps, what is the profit that was generated by that revenue? Then you need to be able to communicate what roles people will play in achieving that vision and how those roles will evolve. It's very common, especially in a firm that is in the mid to upper six figures, as it transitions into a seven-figure firm, for there to be a degree of responsibility chaos. What I mean by responsibility chaos or category chaos is that team members start to have to move away from being generalists into becoming specialists. There'll be a whole other video covering that particular topic. The basic idea here is you can't have a bunch of people who wear a ton of hats in a seven-figure firm. You need people who wear one, maybe two hats in your practice and are really great at executing on those specific categories. As a great leader, you need to provide clarity on that transition. Don't let them experience that transition without understanding how to articulate what is going on. Instead, far ahead of time, tell them what to expect. As we grow, all of you will notice that it will seem like your roles might shrink. For example, the person who's doing office admin and intake will find themselves shifting one direction or the other. This can be a difficult transition, and understandably so. You at first will feel like you are less valuable to the firm. But the truth is, in the business that we're building, people being really great at one particular category is what makes us an excellent law firm for people. Not just a firm that has kind of a lovey-dovey family vibe, but a firm that delivers huge promises to our clients time and time again. We continually over-deliver because you learn how to specialize. As you come to these points where I ask you to specialize, I want you to communicate with me. Now, it's not a question of whether or not people will specialize. It's a question of finding the right seat on this bus for you. You've probably heard that term before, right seat on the right bus. We want to find the right seat for you on this bus that we are creating, and this will be a continual back and forth set of communications, so that way you know exactly what it means to perform at a high level and achieve at a high level in the role that you now occupy. This type of clarity is super beneficial. If you are able to project the journey ahead and explain it to your team, they won't have these chaotic emotions that go along with being in a growing firm, and you can reduce turnover. It helps to actually understand some of these patterns, which is where I will shout out. In the description below, you'll see a link to an email list where I share the tactics, strategies, philosophies, principles, and larger ideas that go on behind the scenes in my actual coaching practice with law firm owners just like you. So if you want some free inside look at some of these big ideas and opportunities, go ahead and sign up for that email list, so that way you have ideas like this to share with your team. Now, back to the topic at hand. So if we have your clarity of vision and we have clarity of roles and responsibilities, the next thing is to make sure we have a feedback loop for continuous clarity. And you need to be able to communicate with your team through this feedback loop in a very open and honest way. We would call it candor. Candor is not just honesty. Honesty is what we have in front of us today. Candor is what we're looking at in the future. So in order to have conversations with candor with your team members, set up a rhythm of regular feedback with them. Whether this is a weekly meeting, a monthly all hands, a quarterly performance review, or even an every 6 months to annual performance review. Although in a fast-growing firm, the more performance review that you can do with them, the better. This will increase clarity for them on where they are. You don't want team members to be confused about their position in the firm. And if you're managing by emotional state right now, you are doing a huge disservice to yourself and everyone that you employ. You need to set yourself up for more objective levels of management. This includes things like key performance indicators, aka KPIs, setting metrics, and doing performance reviews with your team members. Now, those are a lot of ideas, more than I can cover in this video, but make sure that you check out other videos on this channel for additional ideas on how to grow your law firm through proven strategies that I am delivering right now to multi-million-dollar firms, which you could be one of those. Take a look at the link in the description below. Most of all, never forget, to be unclear is to be unkind. Focus on clarity in everything that you do as a law firm owner, and you will have much greater results. Shine light, provide clarity. Follow that simple statement and you might be surprised at what you can achieve. All right, go check out one of those other videos and make sure you subscribe to the channel so that way you can continue to see ideas like this delivered to you regularly via YouTube. And hit the link in the description below. Get on that email list. I promise you'll be entirely shocked by what I give away free.